horse has long bolted. The only reason it is still hovering around is because Shraj has arrested the whole proceedings. Otherwise, this would have been a signed and done deal. How can you prevent it from going through?
Oh, well, of course. I mean, once the contracts have not been concluded, the deal has not been sealed, there's still opportunity to reverse. And I mean, obviously, when there has been an illegality, there has been an illegality. So one has to review the process. So I don't think that the horse has bolted. I think there's still opportunity. SNIT itself has said they recognize and acknowledge that Shraj is investigating the way to see. I think that is the way to go. Our position is that fundamentally the reasons even provided raise red flags, let alone the processes and the methodology, what the money is going to be used for, how it's going to generate the objectives they set out. There's no clarity on any of these. I think that there is still time to make those amends if we as a country want to do that.
Are you going to file a Jonda application in the Shraj case, or are you going to consider other avenues that would prevent SNIT from proceeding with this contract?
Well, the first thing is that there's a call to all Ghanaians. Please, this SNIT issue is not about Shraj, it's not about TUC, it's not about Umar Sanda, it's not about myself. It's about all of us and our future. So we should all have voices speaking and saying that we have concerns, because we already know the ILO assessment show that our SNIT scheme is in trouble. Pensioners who are asking for their money are already being told stories. So let's all get on board. That's the first point. Second point, yes, if we get to a place where we think that it is necessary to take court action, we discussed that this morning, that, look, we haven't been to court. If we have to, we'll get to a point where our assessment is that the coalition needs to do that. That is definitely an option that will be explored.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
And thank you for having me.
That's Edem Senano. He's a co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. The group is part of a larger one known as the Coalition for Democratic Accountability and Inclusive Governance. And it held a press conference today to kick against the decision of SNIT, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, to diversify some 60% of its shares in 4 hotels, 2 in the central region, namely Elmina Beach Resort and Ridge Royal Hotel, and in Accra, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel and Labadi Beach Hotel. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We've been, this is a story we've been following and we'll continue to follow it. And if there are more developments, we'll definitely share them with you. Stay with us. This is Eyewitness News. We'll be back.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
KB, aka Kubeboga, now drives a Bugatti. He can even travel by road from Accra to London. Wow! KB's source of wealth is agriculture. Yes, coconut business. After losing his bank job, he started supplying coconuts at events. Now, he owns large coconut plantations and employs many young people. Charlie, we all need to trust the process, because hope days.
There has never been a better time to enter into agribusiness. Take a bold step today with the Ghana Grows program, because every step pays. Ejuma Wokro, Ghana Grows, Hope Day, an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with Springboard Roadshow Foundation and Limehouse.
You know, Papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Choboy! Yeah. We have a new leader in town. Obiarentie. Amafo. Me don't want to be when him say my baby, maybe more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal Pack with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Last week, it emerged that somebody, and it appears that somebody is former Attorney General, former Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu. At least that's what the reportage has been. That he has petitioned the President for the removal of Kisie Jabin, who is the current Special Prosecutor. The information is that the President, in accordance with what the dictates of the Constitution is, referred the petition for the removal to the Chief Justice. Now, the Chief Justice wrote to Kisie Jabin, the Special Prosecutor, asking him to comment on the content of the petition. What that means is that the process has essentially been started, and it is supposed to continue, where the investigation will be conducted by the Chief Justice by empaneling a committee and so on, if she considers that there's a prima facie case. So that has been the news since last week. Today, we are seeing news from a very respected private legal practitioner who was written saying that the approach that is being used to impeach the Special Prosecutor itself is unconstitutional. The person making this statement penned an article, is on our website, citynewsroom.com, but we actually have him on the line now to understand further for our audiences who are listening to us what his position is. Kwame Ekufo is his name, and he's joined us on the line. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Doing very well. So you are questioning the constitutionality or the constitutional process being adopted. Is it the case that the wrong articles have been quoted, or the procedure itself is in error? Please share with us what your position is.
Let me put this in proper perspective. First, good evening to your listeners. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Any conduct which is pursuant to the Constitution must follow the strict dictates of the Constitution. You will notice that the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act puts the Special Prosecutor on some equivalent level with the Court of Appeal judge. And to that end, the Court of Appeal judge, whose removal is governed by Article 146 of the Constitution, is automatically transferred to that of the Special Prosecutor. That reasoning is flawed, because it means that you are adding on to the persons who are embraced by Article 146, the Office of the Prosecutor, when Article 146 has not been amended, to enable a reference to be made in respect to the Special Prosecutor for purposes of impeaching him or whoever the Special Prosecutor will be in future under Article 146. They'll be compelling me to amend the Constitution on Article 289 and 290, especially because Article 146 is an entrenched provision. Under the circumstances, the reference by the President, unfortunately, is constitutionally flawed. The reference or the call upon by the Chief Justice to the Special Prosecutor is equally flawed, and the whole process is constitutionally deficit. The Special Prosecutor can be removed from office by other processes other than Article 146. That's essentially the crux of the submission I make in the article.
Now, The crux of your argument is that the special prosecutor is equated to a justice of the Superior Court as defined in Article 146.
That is what the law setting up the offices stand.
Okay, but does that law does that law also then prescribe the procedure for removal, which procedure says right to the president?
That procedure, which has been set up under the law, is constitutionally deficit because the consequential effect is to enable Article 146 to cover the special prosecutor. But to do that, you have to amend Article 146 first, for Article 146 to include the special prosecutor. You cannot, by a standalone act of parliament, suggest or indicate that the special prosecutor falls within the category of persons who can be impeached under Article 146. Article 146 is exhaustive and sets out the persons who can be removed. The special prosecutor is not mentioned there, and therefore the process is constitutionally flawed.
What you're actually doing is attacking the very article or the very act that created the Office of Special Prosecutor, which means that is it the entirety of the act that will be null and void, or just the particular section that talks about equating the SP with a judge of the Superior Courts and also dictating the removal procedure?
Equating an SP with the Justice of the Court of Appeal is not a problematic issue for me. Insofar as perhaps terms of a salary or some immunity, it's not a problem for me per se. It does not concern me presently. It is the removal process which is the subject matter of dispute. Can we have a situation where a special prosecutor who is not known to the Constitution per se and Article 146 can be removed by that process? My answer is in the negative. It certainly cannot be the case. It's been an oversight. I'm not sure that the persons moving this process have paid attention to it, because this is what happens sometimes in the constitutional process. The Constitution is always a living organism capable of growth and development. So we share ideas and the Constitution grows. So this is an oversight. But clearly, Article 146 does not admit the special prosecutor for purposes of impeachment.
How do we cure this?
Well, the curing of this is by making legislation to remove the special prosecutor through other means than Article 146. I'm concerned with triggering or activating a constitutional provision, which has nothing to do with the office in question. That is the case study that I'm embarked on presently.
So the solution could either be that Parliament amends the Act to say that the special prosecutor's powers are not equated with that of a justice of the Superior Court, or the Act will be amended to read that the removal procedure for the SP is the same as dictated in 146 of the Constitution.
No. To be able to arrive at the conclusion that the special prosecutor can be removed, you will have to amend the Constitution. If you amend the Constitution under Article 289 and then 290 of the Constitution, only then will you be able to get the special prosecutor to be impeached under Article 146. And you have to keep a thing in mind. Article 146 is an entrenched provision, which, if it's an amendment, will require referendum. So it's a costly process. It's a tedious process, and the Constitution never envisaged the office of the special prosecutor, especially because at the time the Constitution was being promulgated, the office had not even come into effect. It's a simple, plain, rather categorically, to put it clearly and precise terms. Article 146 does not address the special prosecutor. He cannot be put in that bracket.
Because amending Article 146 would be tedious and expensive, that's why I'm looking at amending the Act instead, which would be an easier work that can be done by Parliament. So an amendment could be brought, which amendment would then say we are no longer equating the special prosecutor with that of a justice of the Superior Court. We could then give the SP a different designation where he can still benefit, but will not be equated to that, so that it does not have to then reference 146 in any way. Then you can proceed with the removal procedure, or make the amendment of the Act to say that the removal shall be in accordance with 146.
No. Let's put it in a simple block manner. The Constitution has set out a list of persons under Article 146 who can be impeached. Article 146 or the persons under Article 146 does not include the special prosecutor. Parliament cannot, by backdoor legislation, amend Article 146 unless they pass legislation consequent to Article 289 and 290 with respect to amending Article 146. But a standalone Act of Parliament on its own cannot fulfill that process. I'm saying that the removal of the public, especially the prosecutor, can be done through other less tedious means. He is not an officer that falls within Article 146, and there's really no basic need. The problem that has arisen is because by equating and putting on the level of a justice of the Court of Appeal, we have assumed that his removal is also a constitutional issue. For present purposes, the issue in dispute is whether or not a special prosecutor can be impeached under Article 146. And I say to you that on the authorities, on the record, on the settled practice, on the very literal text of the Constitution, the special prosecutor cannot be caught within that bracket, and the process is therefore constitutionally flawed.
The last time we saw an impeachment of this nature, it was against Charlotte Osei, who was then heading the Electoral Commission. The petitioners went under the same procedure to have her removed. Would you say now that with hindsight, or in hindsight, that... Okay, I think we've lost him there. We'll try to see if we can reconnect with him to proceed with this particular conversation. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let me read for you the Article 146 that he referenced, which is Article 146 of the Constitution. It says, a justice of the Superior Court or a chairman of the regional tribunal shall not be removed from office except for stated misbehavior or incompetence or on ground of inability to perform the functions of his office arising from infirmity of body or mind. Clause 2 says, a justice of the Superior Court of Judicature or a chairman of the regional tribunal may only be removed in accordance with the procedure specified in this article. Clause 3 says, if the President receives a petition for the removal of justice of a superior court other than the Chief Justice, or for the removal of the chairman of a regional tribunal, he shall refer the petition to the Chief Justice, who shall determine whether there is prima facie case. Clause 4 says, where the Chief Justice decides that there is a prima facie case, he shall set up a committee consisting of 3 justices of the superior courts or chairmen of the regional tribunals or both, appointed by the Judicial Council, and 2 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers, and who shall be appointed by the Chief Justice on the advice of the Council of State. Clause 5 says, the committee appointed under Clause 4 of this article shall investigate the complaint and shall make its recommendation to the Chief Justice, who shall forward it to the President. Clause 6 says, where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, so this is not relevant now because we're talking about the SP whose powers are equated to a justice of the Superior Court, not necessarily the Chief Justice. So the procedure is highlighted there in Article 146, and Kwame Kufo is explaining there that he believes that the decision or the plan to remove the SP is not what do you call it? It's not in line with the Constitution, so it's null and void because it's inconsistent with the dictates of the Constitution. I was going to ask him if he thought that the removal of Charlotte Osei perhaps was also unconstitutional because the Article 146 is what was used. Now, she was chairperson of the Electoral Commission. Does the rule apply differently? Meanwhile, there's another advice that I'm getting here where... So a lawyer has sent me a message saying that Article 146, strictly speaking, is not engaged, and that the legislation being talked about is the OSP Act. So a relevant portion of the OSP Act that talks about the removal of the Special Prosecutor, Section 15.1 says, the Special Prosecutor shall not be removed from office except for A, stated misbehavior or incompetence, B, incapacity to perform the functions of the office by reason of infirmity of body or mind, C, willful violation of the official oath or oath of secrecy, and D, a conduct which brings or is likely to bring the office of the Special Prosecutor into disrepute, ridicule, or contempt, or is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of the state. Clause 2 says, subsection 2 says, a person who seeks to remove the Special Prosecutor from office shall submit a petition to the President. 3. Where the president receives a petition for the removal of the special prosecutor, the president shall within 7 days refer the petition to the Chief Justice, who shall within 30 days determine whether there is a prima facie case. 4 says, where the Chief Justice determines that there is a prima facie case, the Chief Justice shall within 14 days set up a committee consisting of a chairperson who is a Justice of the Supreme Court, a lawyer of at least 15 years standing at the bar, and 1 other person with expertise in investigations. Clause 5 says the committee shall within 90 days investigate the matter and make its recommendation to the president through the Chief Justice. The president shall act accordance with the recommendations of the committee. Now, this sounds similar to the dictates of the Constitution, but it's not the same. Let me put it back to Kwame Kufu. We've got him back on the line. Sir, you're welcome back to Eyewitness News. I'm just reading the section 15 of the OSP Act to my listeners, but and I will ask you to comment. But before then, there's a question that says, what do you think of the removal of Charlotte Osei as chairperson of the EC at the time? The same Article 146 was invoked. Would you say with hindsight that perhaps the unconstitutionality you talk about now may have been the same scenario as of the time she was being removed?
You have to read the Constitution as a whole and not in part. You realize that the Constitution specifically makes clear that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission or the Electoral Commission chair is somebody whose terms and conditions are the same as the Justice of the Court of Appeal. So you have to read that clause in conjunction with Article 446 in order to reach a holistic, commonsensical position.
So
if you look at Article 144, Clause 2 of the Constitution, it says that the chairman of the Electoral Commission shall have the same terms and conditions of service as the Justice of the Court of Appeal. That removal process of a person appointed under the Constitution, whose terms and service is the same as the Justice of the Court of Appeal, will by common sense, logic, and all practice, let the person follow Article 146. But in a situation where the special prosecutor is not one covered by the Constitution, the foundational block to put the special prosecutor within Article 146 will require an amendment of the Constitution to embrace the special prosecutor. That's a distinct difference.
I have not seen, and I'm not sure it is public yet, the specific petition that was sent to the president, for which reason he forwarded same to the Chief Justice, the Chief Justice continuing or with a forwarding also to the SP. But I'm looking at the procedure for removal as stated in the OSP Act in Section 15. It copies the language of Article 146, but it is not Article 146. Can we say then that we can rely on 15 to remove an SP, even though elsewhere we are told that he's equated? Can we just rely solely on the law that was created for the OSP and not the Constitution which predates the creation of the OSP?
You put it this way, but the point is this. By sending it to the Chief Justice under Article 146, you are activating constitutional provisions which have nothing to do with Section 15 per se. Because Section 15 is an indirect attack or an indirect attempt to amend provisions of the Constitution, which is not acceptable. So you see that there's a rehearsal in Section 15 to mitigate the provisions of 146. And it's for such reasons that the reference is sent to the Chief Justice. If it was just Section 15 simpliciter, there will have been no need. Perhaps it will have been impeached by a committee sitting at the board level of the Special Prosecutor's Office instead of it being sent to the Chief Justice. It is the reference into the Chief Justice which then brings up the provisions and Article 146 into play. And I'm saying to you with all due respect that on the basis of the constitutional provisions, the Special Prosecutor doesn't fall under 146.
Okay, but isn't it a matter of choices then? So that can't the proponents of this procedure say they were coming under 15 of the OSP Act and not under 146 of 1992 Constitution?
No, they were not coming under 15. It is for such reason that they conveyed the petition to the Chief Justice.
But 15 also says
yes,
the petition should be conveyed to the Chief Justice.
Yes, but the Chief Justice is asking for whether a prima facie case is being made under Article 146.
No, the 15 also talks about prima facie case.
Yes, but it is based on Article 146. And I'm saying that the Chief Justice has no role to play in this constitutionally.
I'm just looking at the language of 15. 15 does not reference 146 in any way, and it's specific.
I'm not saying that it does, with all due respect. I am saying to you that 15 appears there because of the equivalency level of placing the gentleman or the occupant of that office on the same level as the Justice of the Court of Appeal. And that's why the removal method in 15 is an imitation or a complete repetition of, very similar provisions under Article 146 of the Constitution. And it is for such reason that it has been sent over to the Chief Justice to make a determination of same.
Very well. So I've asked you how it can be cured. You've talked about the process. It's a very long one. But in the interim, how can you prevent this unconstitutionality from going on if you believe that it is an unconstitutionality? So beyond letting the public know, what are you going to do to arrest this unconstitutional act from going forward if you strongly believe that it is unconstitutional?
I strongly believe that it is unconstitutional. I'm not the only lawyer in this republic. I'm sure that the government itself may take certain creative steps towards this if they find good reason in what I say. But I have made a point, and it is a matter that the society will be engaged in discussion on this matter. I'm not a one-man thousand.
You're not going to pursue it beyond this?
I think I've begun the discussion, which is useful and coherent.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you for speaking to me too.
That's Kwame Akufo. He's a lawyer speaking to us about the unconstitutionality, as he claims it is, of the plan to remove the special prosecutor. He says that that particular path that is being maneuvered by the petitioner through the president and through the Chief Justice is unconstitutional. He says it flies in the face of Article 146. So that is just a conversation that we're having. He has penned an article. The details are on the our website, citinewsroom.com. I'm just trying to see if I can find you the part of the act that equates the special prosecutor with the higher judicial, someone or a justice of the judiciary, a higher court of adjudicator, as is captured. Let me just look through the act briefly to see if I can share that with you. So the nomination of the special prosecutor is under section 13 of 959. That's the name of the act. The functions, we are told that the special prosecutor is accountable to the board in performance of the functions under this act. The special prosecutor shall have full authority and control over the investigation. I'm not sure this is relevant to what I'm trying to share with you. This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM, talking about issues having to do with legality and the fight against corruption. There's a statement that the presidency has just issued. I'm going to share that with you. It has to do with the KPMG report. We'll be back to share details with you on what the presidency is saying about the KPMG report on SML.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
In a world where only the best survives, you need a fuel that can match your drive. A fuel with unparalleled protection for your engine, superior efficiency, and unrivaled performance. A fuel so unbeatable, when you get behind the wheel, you'll focus on what really matters. The journey ahead. That fuel is Shell V-Power, because no other fuel gives your engine better protection, better efficiency, and better performance. Be unbeatable. Drive unbeatable. Shell V-Power. Shell, go well.
Are you feeling tired after a hard day's work? Have you lost your appetite even for your favorite dish? Viral Blood Tonic is a nutritionally balanced, pleasant-tasting tonic fortified with iron and vitamins to boost your appetite and energy levels for high performance. Viral Blood Tonic, easy to take and good for the whole family. Viral from Danex Iting Starwin PLC. If symptoms persist after 48 hours, consult a physician. This advert is FDA approved. Are you a contractor, builder, or a proud homeowner with an eye for quality and security? Well, look no further than Yale. Yale is the trusted name in security for over 180 years. When it comes to securing your home or business, trust Yale. We make security simple, and we're right here in the heart of Accra, Ghana. Visit our stunning showroom on 11th Lane Street in Osu, Accra, and discover a world of premium Yale products, including door hardware, handles, and door locks that will elevate the security and style of your space. Whether you're building from scratch or renovating, Yale has the perfect solution for you. Our products are known for their durability, innovation, and most importantly, your peace of mind. Visit us today and experience the Yale difference. Your security, our priority. Yale, locking in your peace of mind.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa!
Bobo, so how's your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you can feel better energy.
Can't touch this.
Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that.
Yes, so
somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched.
Sancho Panzapa. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz?
No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer.
Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency.
Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry.
Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's talk about the KPMG report on the Ghana Revenue Authority and SML transaction. Recall that there was a request under the RTI from the Media Foundation for West Africa to the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to release a full report of the KPMG, the work that the KPMG did on the SML and GRA contract. Recall also that the presidency wrote in response to KPMG saying it was not going to release the report to the Media Foundation for West Africa. The presidency at the time quoted provisions of the RTI Act, particularly Section 5(1)(a) and (bi) of the Act, in which the presidency denied the request by the Media Foundation for West Africa to release a full report of KPMG. Now, today, there's a new information coming from the presidency. Now, there are 2 pages in this particular statement that has been issued by the Director of Communication. I'm going to read the last but one paragraph of page 1. It says, furthermore, there has been judicial pronouncement in a case involving Media Foundation for West Africa that a request which falls within the categories of information exempt under RTI Act can be lawfully declined. Now, the basis is that the KPMG report comprises opinions, advice, deliberations, and recommendations that are integral to the President's deliberative process and therefore qualify as exempt under Section 5(1)(a) and (bi) of the RTI Act. The presidency wishes again to inform us that it's important to recount that even before the request, and this is the first paragraph of page 2, it says, it is important to recount that even before the request from MFWA, the president had, on 24th April 2024, caused to be published a detailed press statement outlining KPMG's findings and recommendations, as well as his directive to the Ministry of Finance and GRA. The Office of the President reiterates the necessity for those who file applications and requests under the RTI Act to have a thorough understanding of its provisions. It is vital to appreciate that The legal framework for access to information includes safeguards intended to protect the sanctity of decision-making at the highest levels of government, which must not be compromised or misused in the pursuit of access to information. Now let's get to the key information that the presidency wants us to know today. The presidency is saying, however, the president, in the interest of full transparency in governance, openness, and honesty with the public, has decided to waive the privilege under Section 5 of the RTI Act and has directed the publication of the KPMG report in full. A copy of the KPMG report can be accessed from the website of the presidency, i.e. www.presidency.gov.gh. Signed, Eugene Ahin, Director of Communications, Office of the President. So if you are one of the people who've been waiting to read the full KPMG report on the GRA SML contract, the presidency had said that it was not going to release the report when the Media Foundation for West Africa requested. It said it was covered under the law not to do the releasing of the report. Tonight, the president has had a change of mind, and the president says he's now going to release, or he has now released the KPMG report, and he says he's doing this in interest of full transparency in governance, openness, and honesty with the public. So the report is on the website www.presidency.gov.gh. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. And what else do you have for us?
The minority in Parliament has dared Interior Minister Henry Quartey to publish the names of persons proposed by NDC MPs to be enlisted into the security services. This follows pronouncements by the minister that NDC MPs have also pushed their people into the security services in his attempt to justify allegations of biased recruitment. Minority Leader Dr. Kaisel Atoforsen addressed a press conference today.
NDC concerns. The NDC's concern have been and still remains the lack of transparency and fairness in the recruitment process into the Ghana Security Services. We highlighted credible information suggesting that the ruling NPP is manipulating recruitment processes to favor its parliamentary candidates, with about 30 slots allocated to each of them for the various security agencies, including the police services, the immigration service, the fire service, and the prison service. This issue is serious and deserves a substantive response, not a deflection. We therefore challenge the Minister for the Interior to publish the names of persons that he claims were forwarded by the NDC MPs for the secret recruitment. If the Minister fails to provide these names, then his statement must be seen for what they are: baseless, ridiculous, frivolous, provocative, and indeed false. Ladies and gentlemen, the minister's announcement that there is going to be a recruitment this year without public advertisement and the sale of forms because the government wants to clear the backlog of previous recruitment is untenable, outrageous, and very disturbing. May I use this opportunity to ask the minister the following questions. 1. How does the clearing of his so-called backlog ensure that persons who might have exceeded the cutoff age for recruitment or may have developed certain health-related issues are not recruited into the security services? 2. Since when did the government of Ghana block recruitment into the security services by restricting access for only a selected group in the name of backlog? 3. Why does the government take pleasure in the destruction of our strategic state institutions, including the security services? Ladies and gentlemen, the people of Ghana cannot be deceived in the name of the so-called backlog of persons waiting to be recruited into the security service.
Minority Leader Dr. Kaisel Atoforsen there. The national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Stephen Ntim, has been appointed as the board chairman of the National Petroleum Authority. He takes over from Joe Adoyobo, who has served as NPA board chairman since 2017. Meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo has also appointed Joe Gate as the new board chair of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Mr. Gate, who is the current member of parliament for Esikado Katan, replaces Dr. Oting Jesse. Mr. Gate is tasked with reforming the GRA and streamlining its activities. The coalition of aggrieved customers of Men's Gold has vowed to resist any attempts to auction the defunct gold dealership firm formerly owned by Nanapia Mensah, popularly known as Namwan. This declaration comes in response to alleged advertisements announcing the intended auction, which have appeared in newspapers. The coalition, representing thousands of affected customers, argue that the proposed auction is premature and undermines the ongoing legal proceedings regarding the case. In a recent reaction, the spokesperson of the coalition, Fred Forson, says the assets in question should remain intact until the court case is resolved to ensure that customers have the best chance of recouping their investments.
Gentlemen have not been able to pay, so our hopes are on this asset. Even the gold that were frozen, that we were aware that the gold were frozen by the state. At the last sitting in court, it came to light that he managed to retrieve the gold even from the security agencies. And that one, we are serving notice on this one. We shall do everything within our power to ensure that this auction will not will not see the light of day. Even if we will have to personally go to the Supreme Court, we shall do that. And so I'm calling on all customers across the country to be alert, because we shall do everything within our power to stop the sale of this property.
Fred Forson is the spokesperson of the Coalition of Aggrieved Customers of Men's Gold. Banking consultant Dr. Richmond Atuahene has revealed that Ghana got less than 14% of its target revenue from gold exports between 2014 and 2023. Ghana's city has been performing poorly in the last 20 years, leaving critics questioning the trend despite massive gold exports and remittances. But speaking to City News, Dr. Richmond Atuahene challenged handlers of the economy to better manage the country's resources to reap the most.
Between 2014 and 2023, we exported 43 billion worth of gold. You have a shock. Ghana only had a surrender value of 6.4 billion, less than 14%. So, like you're saying, you can export, but your contract that you have signed with people, you have actually sold your birthright. And if you sold your birthright, you're not going to get a benefit of the export. This is true. And what you're saying is true. We need to sit up as a country, have a discussions about where do we want to go. What can we do? But the way it is being managed, immediately you say it, you become somebody. Nowadays, who is this guy? But you see, some of us spend our time doing research on the country and certain areas which I believe Ghana can benefit if we sit up. Sri Lanka received this month, the last month, $298 million worth of remittances. By my calculation, multiply by 12, the remittance alone would have been $3 billion. And if we get about $3 billion, is it not bigger than the IMF protracted loan, something that is putting a lot of us in poverty?
Dr. Richmond Atuahene is a banking consultant. Away from that, the Tamale Teaching Hospital has rejected allegations of paying salaries to non-existent employees, popularly known as ghost names. The office of the Special Prosecutor and the Controller and Accountant General's Department, after an investigation into the payroll system in the Northern region, covering the Tamale Teaching Hospital and educational institutions under the Ghana Education Service, raised alarm over some illegalities, including unauthorized and inactive validation, leading to payments of ghost names. Reacting to the report in a City News interview, the Public Relations Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, Aliu Zuberi, said the hospital has no knowledge of the said findings, but assured that the hospital would implement internal control measures to ensure transparency.
We disagree with whatever information that is put out there. Although we haven't had any formal communication from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, we only saw a document being circulated online. So even as we wait for any formal communication, we are taking it so serious with the issues that are raised. With regards to HR, the data on staff and all that, some of the issues they raised, we don't know the details yet, but we are hearing ghost names and then validation with inactive sort of validated information and all that. So we need to run through our system to see, as they allege, to be sure that, one, there are not ghost names as it has been alleged, and to be sure that we are not also validating any employee who is not actually on our payroll or even at post. So internally, we are doing our own assessment of what the OSPS is putting out, and then we'll definitely respond to them appropriately.
Aliu Zubairu is the Public Relations Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Benjamin Boache, has expressed concern about the decline in the country's crude oil production. PIAC's 2023 annual report on the management and use of petroleum revenue revealed the country's dwindling oil capacity, which decreased by 6.78% in 2023, contributing to an average annual decline of 9.2% over the past 4 years. Speaking in an interview with City News, Benjamin Boache described as worrying the inability of the Jubilee oil field to produce 30,000 barrels a day as initially projected. Mr. Boache also called on government to put necessary measures in place to optimize investments in the upstream sector to boost the country's crude oil production.
We're told somewhere Jubilee was going to bring in additional 30,000 barrels a day, which would then have augmented our production and perhaps increased it. But we're also seeing that field is also declining in spite of the significant investment that Salo and the partners have done to improve oil recovery. We're still seeing a decline. And that, for me, is shocking. How did we optimize that to ensure that the expected 30,000 barrels a day would actually be brought on stream? I think those are issues that we will have to get deeper into to ask relevant questions. Was it worth our investment? Getting way less than what we projected to produce from those fields. I think those are the issues that will have to come up. But what it signals, though, is that we need to look at optimizing investment upstream.
Benjamin Boache is Executive Director of ASEP.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Are you a JHS student in Ghana? Are you a wordsmith with a passion for development? Do you have a way with words that captivates and inspires? If so, then join the Literacy Challenge 2024 now. The nationwide search for the most outstanding junior high school students in Ghana is on. Do you think that it could be you who goes home with 10,000 Ghana cedis and a glitzy trophy? Then, in not less than 600 words, write about the role of the youth in shaping the future of Ghana. What changes would you like to see, and how can young people contribute to making them happen? Script must be in your own handwriting. Script must be endorsed by a parent or guardian. Add your full contact details. Deadline, Saturday the 13th of July, 2024. Submit entries to the front desk of Citi TV or Citi FM or P.O. Box GP 14123 Accra Central. For inquiries, call 0205 973 973. The Literacy Challenge 2024 is powered by 97.3 Citi FM, supported by Citi TV, and is sponsored by Ghana National Gas Company, Alive Soap, and Fortune Spread.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. City Business News. Be informed.
Time now for City Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Inu Safo. Let's settle for the details. Professor Peter Quartey, Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research at the University of Ghana, is advocating for the maintenance of the current policy rate, asserting that an increase would have adverse effects on businesses. This comes as measures to control the cedi depreciation and high inflation levels is projected to dominate the 118th meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana as it commences a review of developments in the economy today. However, in an interview with Citi Business News, Professor Quartey emphasized the need for a balanced approach, suggesting that a drop or an increase in the policy rate would still be dire for the overall economic outlook.
I would honestly expect that the policy rate is maintained for two reasons. One, despite the exchange rate movement and some of the challenges that may prompt the need to increase the policy rate, I think the higher rate might also hurt business. Currently, cost of doing business is on the high side and businesses are complaining. So I think the Bank of Ghana will have to strike a delicate balance. It shouldn't increase the policy rate now. I also think a lower rate, a reduction, although might help reduce the cost of doing business, we can also trigger some capital flight because there are some investors who hold government bonds and other government papers, and when that happens, they might also disinvest. So for now, I think we strike a delicate balance and just pay the policy rate and study the market. Look at the movement in the exchange rate, inflation expectation in the coming months, and then adjust accordingly.
That was the director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research at the University of Ghana, Professor Peter Quartey. More than 400 million litres of fuel is estimated to remain at the petroleum loading terminals if the sit-down strike of the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union does not come to a halt. This is expected to have a significant toll on more than 3.5 million consumers across the country in the coming days. There's more in this News Desk report by Daniel Ojurumense and read by Emmanuel Opon.
Citi Business News has learned that the country's full supply chain, which include tanker drivers, transport owners, oil marketing companies, dealers and consumers may be adversely affected following the nationwide industrial action by the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union. This will result in undue delays for the transportation of more than 400 million litres of fuel left at the loading terminals across the country. The demands of the union date back to November 2023 after a policy framework detailing the conditions of service for members of the union was proposed to the NPA for review and onward approval. But a press statement from the Association of Oil Marketing Companies urged the tanker drivers to deal with their respective employers and not the NPA as the proposed framework seeks to do. The association further urged the union to submit a list of OMCs that are reportedly defaulting on their compensation obligations. On the other hand, some energy think tanks noted that although tanker drivers may not be key players within the energy sector, their role is significant, hence the need for their concerns to be addressed.
That was a News Desk report. Away from that, the declining rate of Ghana's crude oil production is expected to worsen if necessary investments are not made in Ghana's upstream petroleum sector. This could impact the country's socio-economic development due to a drop in the annual budget funding amount from petroleum revenue. These concerns are heightening among key stakeholders in the energy sector who are urging the government to swiftly commit itself to investing in more oil fields. The following report has more.
Ghana's commercial crude oil production peaked in 2019 at 71.45 million barrels but declined to 66.95 million barrels in 2020, representing a 6.32% drop. It further declined to 55.05 million barrels in 2021 and then to 51.76 million barrels in 2022, representing a 5.98% drop. Crude oil production in Ghana has further decreased to 48.25 million barrels in 2023. This worrying decline is alarming, prompting stakeholders to call for urgent action to reverse the trend. Executive Director of Africa Center for Energy Policy, Benjamin Boache, in an interview with Citi Business News, called for robust measures to deal with the decline.
I think we should stage our intervention in the oil and gas. We should build an institution that is credible, capable, and once we have done that, then we can think of adding to it. As I indicated to you, in the little they have, we don't see what they do with it. all right, the asset that is supposed to account to the people of Ghana, it's domiciled in the foreign land, and it's not a company that you can have confidence in to say that if we give them more, they will be able to generate some return for it. So we should first of all build an institution that is credible.
Meanwhile, energy analyst Dr. Yusuf Suleimana believes it's time for the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation to spearhead developments in the upstream petroleum sector.
Everything boils down to investment, and we have to encourage our IOCs to push more cash into the oil field strategically to be able to unlock the potential, the full potentials of our oil field. But overall, yes, we have to also think about local what we can do as an oil NOC. I think GMPC has to step up the game. They also have Hotain Basin. All this requires investment, and so we will encourage our players to ensure that they get investment, and then the GMPC, they have to also go straight to get partnership to be able to get investment into the fields. So investment is key to unlocking all the potentials of every reservoir.
That was a News Desk report by Citi Business News' Daniel Sakite. The plight of aggrieved Men's Gold customers struggling to recover their investments remains unresolved, with reports indicating ongoing liquidation of assets despite legal injunctions. The latest asset slated for sale is a residential property located at Tresako Valley Phase 3. NAM1 and two of his companies, Men's Gold Ghana Limited and Brew Marketing Consult Ghana Limited, are facing 39 counts of defrauding by false pretense, inducing members of the public to invest, and money laundering. In 2023, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice filed fresh charges against him after withdrawing all previous ones. In an interview with Citi Business News, convener for the aggrieved Men's Gold customers, Fred Forson, emphasized the urgent need for intervention by the Attorney General to safeguard the interests of the affected customers.
It will be very prudent for the AG to go to the Supreme Court, which has supervisory jurisdiction over the court below, for an order or a directive. They are looking at the sensitive nature of this Men's Gold saga. No court in the jurisdiction should have the authority and audacity to allow any of the Men's Gold frozen assets or any asset belonging to Men's Gold to be auctioned by anybody, by a group of people or even NAM1 himself. It appears he's flouting the order by the court, or we don't know what is happening. And the reason why we are all for this, the current criminal prosecution, and we have supported and cooperated since last year of August, is that we believe that at least the frozen assets at the end of this trial, we shall have access to those assets, and those assets will be sold off to pay off our money.
He further implored the government to expedite the resolution process, urging for closure on the matter by ensuring that affected customers receive their compensatory packages before the end of November.
We are expecting to receive our money by November because we cannot wait any longer. Many of our people, so far 220 people have died. Many of our people are dying, so we expect the President of the Republic, respectively, to give us a roadmap and to ensure that at least by 1st November this year, the last Men's Gold customer is paid. That is our call.
Fred Forson is the convener of the Coalition of Aggrieved Men's Gold Customers. That's all for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. The business news on Eyewitness News is brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Inu Safo. Up next is Point Blank.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
There are some classy celebrations that calls for whipping out your favorite China sets. Same goes for your luxury vehicle. Just any engine oil won't do. Premium understands premium best. The new Shell Helix Ultra 0W20 SP with carbon neutral properties is the one for your premium car. It's a fully synthetic motor oil designed using the Shell Pure Plus technology. Prevents dirt buildup with exceptional cleaning power, leaving your pistons cleaner than a whistle, up to 50% more than the industry standard, and gives you stronger, long-lasting engine performance. So, if you want your classic car to run smoothly like a Ferrari for years to come, use the Shell Helix Ultra 0W20 SP with carbon neutral properties. Shell Helix Ultra 0W20 SP, designed for ultimate engine performance.
Boss, KB, yo. Hey, KB, aka Kubeboga, now drives a Bugatti. He can even travel by road from Accra to London. Wow. KB's source of wealth is agriculture. Yes, coconut business. After losing his bank job, he started supplying coconuts at events. Now, he owns large coconut plantations and employs many young people. Charlie, we all need to trust the process, because hope days.
There has never been a better time to enter into agribusiness. Take a bold step today with the Ghana Grows program, because every step pays. Ejuma Wokrom, Ghana Grows, Hope Day, an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with Springboard Roadshow Foundation and Limehouse.
Life is a stage and we're all players, playing the supporting role.
The title of my poem is
Playing with rhythm. Playing the lead. Playing to win. Playing with gusto. Playing for the sheer thrill until the curtain falls. Because every journey begins with play. Kickstart yours with MTN. So, what are we doing today? MTN.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Tonight on Point Blank, we have an eye on the Electoral Commission and the calls for the extension of the registration. The EC says that will not happen. We'll be hearing from people who think otherwise. But before then, it rained today in Accra, and you're already aware what happens when it rains. The ugly side of Accra is exposed for us all to see. The final element or item on the chain is the gridlock that is recorded in many parts of the city. Let's speak to Kweku David. He hosts Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. He's joined me on the line. He's somewhere in Accra. Kweku, where are you?
I'm on I think it's the Gifford Road. It's within from the Flagstaff House area, Jubilee House area, towards 37 in that enclave.
So is it the switchback road, the one that goes in front of the Christ the King church?
No, well, I use that, but I'm now closer to the Lands Commission area.
How long did it take you, and where did you move from, and what is the traffic situation generally?
Okay, so I initially passed in front of Adabaka and then came in towards Ridge, and I came to the Ridge roundabout, and the traffic was insane. insane. It had backed up all the way from Akwaje back towards almost where the MTN office is. So if you can imagine that entire stretch of road. So at least, an hour or so just being in traffic there. It's been quite hectic. And cars are also breaking down because, again, the issue is you're running out of fuel, you didn't anticipate falling into traffic and all of that. Then you also have issues of people at the bus stops waiting for trotro, and the trotters are not coming. So you have hundreds of people out there, different bus stops, you see them there and there are no vehicles and all that. So, yeah, it's pretty horrendous out here.
Is it still raining?
No, it's not raining anymore.
So, but is there order though? Are there police people helping with the maintenance of law order, or drivers are doing what drivers know how to do best, being reckless?
Mostly because it's so backed up. It's not too chaotic. It's just, the traffic lights are working in most places, and then people are just following because you can't go anywhere else. There's no space to pass to misbehave. So, it's where I am, at least, it's pretty orderly. Earlier on, I came through Circle. Like I said, I went to Adabaka. I came through Circle to Adabaka, and that was quite chaotic. That was earlier. That would be about an hour and a half ago.
What about water on the road on the roads? How is that?
Most places now, the water has receded. Earlier, there was water on the roads through from Tesano towards Circle, but it wasn't as bad as we would usually experience on that stretch. This time around, it doesn't seem to. I don't know whether it's the strength of the rain or maybe cleaner drainages. I'm not sure what the explanation is, but it wasn't as bad as usually would be, yeah.
I'm closing at 7, and I'm speaking for everyone who is still in the office. Should we go home now, or we should relax and watch a movie, or maybe just play some nice Lucky Dube and relax and wait for some 2 more hours?
To be very honest with you, I would say to be on the safe side, give yourself maybe another hour or an hour and a half before you set off.
But I wish you all the same, though. You are in that snail pace traffic. Wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you.
That's Kweku David. He hosts Breakfast Daily on Citi TV, speaking to us about the flood situation here in Accra.
Is within with Bethesda admittance. But in our briefing, we stated that with the first week, we actually had a lot of people in the queue, and we stated that if you go to us, the registration centers, you find out that it's something like a walk in. We are not actually recording very high darkness in some registration rights. So it is for means why these.
He's deputy chairperson of the Electoral Commission, speaking on the the demands for the extension of the registration exercise, which is going on now. The EC says no, it's 21 days, and 21 days it shall be. Isiama Boatin, Gildred Isiama Boatin, is member of the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO. He's joined us on the line for a reaction to this and other issues. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thanks for having me, Omaro.
Now, I don't know what your observations have been telling you. The EC's target is some 600,000, or is it 800,000? I've forgotten the exact figure that they were targeting. There are calls for them to extend the registration. A number of issues have been raised. Based on your reading of the ground, is that a call that should be heeded, or like the EC says, that's an unnecessary call that would just waste everybody's time? Let's stick to the 21 days.
Well, first of all, the Electoral Commission has made it clear that its principal objective is to ensure that every Ghanaian who is willing to vote will not be disenfranchised. And in this regard, during the first 2 days when we had challenges, the Electoral Commission came out and indicated that they are willing to extend the days when it becomes necessary. That's after they have monitored and realized that we don't have a lot of people who want to still register, but they don't have time to register. In this regard, I must acknowledge that in some of the registration centers, especially the hard-to-reach areas, we saw officers of the Electoral Commission at the district level taking the decision to extend the registration days from 2 days, which was fixed initially, to 3 days. But generally, I think in some areas, per my observation even today, they were using 3 registration desks or 3 workstations, especially at the district level. They have reduced it to 1 because they have monitored the system, they've monitored the numbers coming in daily and realized that they don't have too many numbers coming in daily, so they have readjusted. But in some places, especially at South Pond, the old court building where I was this afternoon, I saw a lot of people in queue, some staying there for hours, and there is only 1 workstation. Upon my inquiry, I learned that they have been getting that high number consistently. So I think the decision to either vary the days that the commission sets should not necessarily be based on their target number. Everyone who qualifies to vote should be given the opportunity to register. And if it's not their fault, but the arrangement of the commission, as I saw today at South Pond, the old court building, then the commission should be flexible enough to ensure that people have the chance to register. And when the day comes, they also should have that right to exercise.
But the problem with extending it is that the whole electoral calendar would be jeopardized, wouldn't it? And again, how much time is enough time if you are to give an extension?
Well, Umaru, it's not only about extension. So for the hard-to-reach areas, if some chiefs made calls in the hard-to-reach areas, even whilst we are having the registration taking place at the district offices, the commission can dispatch some of the people or some of the workstations that they have ended their work. They can dispatch them to those areas to ensure that they continue to register the people within the limited time that is left for the registration. At the same time, in some places, as I told you, the South Pond area, they have been recording high numbers. And are you saying that on the last day, you are not going to allow people to register because you fixed the target, you've achieved a target, and it's 21 days? What should those people do? That's where they belong to. And it's not their fault. So either the commission adopt different strategies to ensure that in those areas that they are recording high numbers consistently, either they increase the number of workstations to take care of the backlog so that everyone gets the fair chance to register, and also deploy people to areas that they think from the last day or where people have justifiable case to make, then they are making. They should actually be responsive as they did in the first 2 days when we encountered those challenges.
I see. What other things or observations have you made as CODEO since you deployed to monitor the ongoing registration?
Well, we have also seen the cases of challenge that are being filed by the various political party agents present at the registration centers. And just to comment on it, I don't think it is necessarily bad, except in the case where you clearly see that people want to abuse, the challenge procedure. It is an avenue, conflict resolution mechanism that the parties or the stakeholders are given to avert any potential clashes. So they file their challenge, and they can have an avenue to make their cases and ensure that they get a fair deal out of that. So we've seen those instances. We've also realized the instances where you have people stationed around the registration centers who are guaranteeing for people what they call the contractors. So these people are stationed and they are willing to guarantee for people up to the number that they are expected to guarantee for. So those are the things that we are picking up. But generally, I think the challenges that we had initially, the first 2 days regarding the network challenges, the administrative issues that the Commission faced, those bottlenecks have reduced substantially. The other thing which is quite troubling, a bit troubling, is that we have realized that there have been changes in the movement plan for some of the hard-to-reach areas, and that is quite troubling. We don't think the sudden changes give the people in those communities enough time to prepare for those exercises. So it could be any of those instances where the Commission will decide that on this day we're not supposed to be here, we should have been on break, but we are going to move to this community. They go there and do the 2 days and return. And if the people are not adequately prepared to meet the officials of the Electoral Commission and participate, because maybe that's not what the earlier communication had been, based on the EC's earlier published movement plan, then we are not also doing justice. So these are things that we want the Commission to pay serious attention to going forward. But Umaru, generally, I must say that the things that we see and reports, in various reports, when you look at the 2020 report that we published, these same issues occurred. So we have a challenge. We are either not learning or not learning fast.
Or we are not improving. Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Gildred Isiama Boatin. He's a member of CODEO. Let me just give the last bite or the quick bite to Dr. Rashid Computer Tanko of the NDC. They have been demanding for this extension. The EC says that's not going to happen. Sir, you're welcome. Quickly in 30 seconds, the EC says we are sticking to the 21 days. You reckon that this will lead to disenfranchisement?
Well, this Electoral Commission, they don't learn from their mistakes. They don't learn at all. The same thing happened in 2023. We told them they thought we were joking. They extended it. Now, this one, the same thing, the earlier stages, our running mate, Madam Bokajiman, mentioned it and told them, because the first 2 days, virtually some districts couldn't register. They couldn't register at all. Even Kolokulete, which is in Accra, the first day, they couldn't register one soul. When we are monitoring the projections that they put out, they said they were registering about 623,000. That's the projection they put out, the EC. We also have our projections. We are looking at the numbers. We are monitoring the numbers closely. And I thought it was too early for Mr. Tete to have said that they would not extend it. He should have waited at least 48 hours to the end of the registration. We can look at the numbers, we can look at the queues and all that, and that one will give us an insight as to whether to extend or not to extend. But to bluntly come out and say, well, we are not extending just because it's coming from NDC running mate, that is why they are doing this. This is our thinking. And I mean, that is not the way to go.
I was actually going to ask you if you have your own projections. It's good to hear that you have. Do you want to share with us what your projections are?
Of course, we think that the 623,000 they are taking was just on the lower side, because looking at what happened in 2023, and at least we're looking at the region of some 700 to 800,000 people to be captured. That is what we're looking at. Because the other time we told them the same thing. When they projected less than 900,000, they crossed over it. They were looking at 700,000, but we told them that they were in the region of either a million or either 900,000. That was what we projected. But they were looking at 700,000. And finally, they registered almost 990-something thousand. So you see that it appears our projections are always superior than what they project. And then so when they said they were looking at 623,000, we laughed at IPAR and knew that these guys, they don't know what they're talking about. Because if you look at the numbers from 2021 up to 2023, they didn't do any registration. And then still, so it's reoccurring. And then so they should have waited, at least taking their time, 48 hours to the time. Then you can look at it and see whether we are within the reach. Because if you look at his press conference, because of lack of time, I would have pointed out certain things to you in his press conference.
Unfortunately, time will not let us. But thank you. That is the
problem. And then that tells you that where we are within, we are monitoring it closely.
All right. That's Dr. Rashid Computer. He's Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC. That's how we end tonight's edition of Eyewitness News. We came to you from Adabraka in Accra. Up next, we are leaving you with Before I Do. It's Before You Say I Do. It's a program that is Mondays to Thursdays at 7 p.m. here on Citi FM, and it is part of our series to celebrate the month of May being the family month. Stay with us.